This book is the Book of Jubilees, also called Little Genesis, because it restores everything the edited Genesis left out. Jubilees claims to be dictated directly to Moses by an angel of the presence on Mount Sinai. So Moses didn't just receive the 10 Commandments, he received the cosmic backstory. The angel reveals humanity's timeline in cycles of Jubilees, 49-year periods that show divine timing unfolding like clockwork. To the ancients, this wasn't myth, it was sacred history. And this matters because Western Christianity lost this book, but the early world didn't. The Dead Sea Scrolls show it was widely used in the 2nd century BCE. Early rabbis referenced it. Ethiopia preserved it exactly as it was. And its teachings shaped early Judaism and early Christianity more than most people realize. The only reason it didn't survive in the Western canon is because later religious authorities didn't want people reading it. Why? Because it made the unseen world too visible. Jubilees gives the fullest explanation of angels outside the Book of Enoch. It reveals the angels of the presence. These are the beings closest to God, the ones who guide prophets, protect nations, and deliver revelation. The angels of sanctification. They oversee purity laws, sacred rituals, covenants, and the heavenly temple. The guardians of nature. Angels assigned to govern the elements, seasons, and the cosmic calendar. The watchers. A group of divine beings who descended to earth, taught humanity advanced knowledge, and fathered a hybrid race described briefly in Genesis 6. The Book of Jubilees fills in the missing details: why they came, what they taught, why their offspring threatened humanity, why the flood was necessary. Religion leaves this vague. Jubilees does not. The Book of Jubilees explains that before the flood, earth was in chaos, not because people were wicked in a vague moral sense, but because bloodlines were being corrupted. The Watchers were altering creation, and violence filled the earth. The children of the Watchers, the giants, were consuming everything, including humans. They brought forbidden sciences, warfare, sorcery, and genetic manipulation. And the entire balance of earth was collapsing. Jubilees states that Noah was chosen because he was perfect in his generations. This means uncorrupted lineage, uncorrupted DNA, not moral perfection. This context changes everything. Jubilees says humanity was originally given a 364-day solar calendar, created in heaven before Earth existed. It's perfect. It never shifts holidays. It aligns with astronomical cycles. And it creates a rhythm of time that keeps humanity connected to Source. But Jubilees warns that later generations would abandon the solar calendar, adopt a lunar or hybrid calendar, lose track of the sacred days, and fall into spiritual confusion. This calendar shift would cause the world to lose its alignment. Now look around. Everything is out of sync. Time doesn't feel natural. Humanity is disconnected. Jubilees predicted all of it. After the flood, Earth wasn't just randomly inhabited. According to Jubilees, the Earth was divided between Noah's sons by angelic decree. Each region was assigned with boundaries protected by covenant. Nations that violated these boundaries would trigger conflict and divine correction. This is why ancient societies were so obsessed with land inheritance. They believed geography itself could carry spiritual destiny. This piece of history was scrubbed from mainstream teaching because it explains global conflicts on a much deeper level. One of the most controversial teachings in Jubilees is the origin of unclean spirits. Jubilees states that when the giants died, their bodies perished, but their spirits remained on earth. These disembodied spirits became what ancient traditions called demons, half angel, half human consciousness with no physical form. This is why they cling to people, places, and bloodlines. They're not from here, but they were born here. This teaching was removed because it gives too much clarity. Jubilees doesn't just explain the past, it predicts the future. It says that humanity would fall into spiritual blindness. The calendar would be corrupted, the covenant would be forgotten, fallen spirits would spread chaos, nations would break their assigned boundaries. But then, a generation would awaken, a generation that restores the ancient knowledge, a generation that remembers its divine origin, a generation that exposes corruption and resets the timeline. Sound familiar? Jubilees reads like it was written for right now. Jubilees was excluded from the canon between the 4th and 6th centuries, not because it was false, but because it conflicted with the political agenda of empire religion. It teaches complex angelology, cosmic law, cycles of time, divine sovereignty, the power of bloodlines, the reality of spiritual warfare, the origin of demons, prophecies that contradict Roman doctrine. It was too advanced, too supernatural, too empowering. And so, in the West, it vanished, while Ethiopia preserved it untouched. But in 1947, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, Jubilees resurfaced, proving it was part of the ancient biblical world all along. Jubilees isn't just a missing book, it's a missing worldview. It shows that the ancients understood angels, covenants, cosmic cycles, sacred time, spiritual hierarchies, and humanity's divine blueprint, far better than modern institutions give them credit for. Jubilees bridges the gap between Genesis and Enoch, between religion and mysticism, between history and the unseen realms. And its reappearance in the modern era is not an accident, because the people who were meant to awaken are awakening. The lost texts are returning. The hidden history is resurfacing, and humanity is remembering who it is.